There
The
you go.
CEO and founder of Klaus, also known as the Cocktail Whisperer. Welcome to the show.
Guillermo, thank you very much for asking me. You can't see outside, but it's from where you are in the tropics, it's snowing outside, so it's all white and sparkly.
Oh, well, I'm sure it's beautiful over there, and today we're going to talk about something that's fun, right? How to unleash your niche and specifically cannabis drinks. So let's dive into it. Maybe give me a little bit about your background to start with.
I've always been interested in food and beverages, and I'm really interested because through no fault of my own, my family raised me traveling around the world. I'd seen most of the world by 16, and we'd go many times during the year, and it was a upbringing like no other, and it involved a lot of beer and wine, and especially wine, and then in later years it involved craft spirits, although they didn't know it at the time. But the things that they were drinking would be connotated as sort of as craft, I would think, small producers. And I always had the idea that I was going to become a chef someday, but I didn't know how to become a chef, especially since there were great family pressures on me to become a lawyer, something I didn't want to become and I would never become. So I had the opportunity through my own impetus to go to culinary school, and that was after washing a lot of dishes and seeing how restaurants work from the inside out, not just reading about them in a book. And I worked my way up from there into a fresh pasta business down in Charleston, South Carolina, and Hurricane Hugo, which caused me to put my life on hold for 20 years, where I worked in a series of private banks in the trust department as an executive assistant, not fulfilling my dreams and certainly not doing what I was supposed to be doing in life, which was working in the hospitality business. So there you are.
Oh, I know you have a colorful history related to hemp. Like, how was that influential to your experience in cannabis beverages?
Oh, well, I've been using cannabis, to smoke, to get high since I was like 12 years old. So there were hippies in my family. My uncle was a true hippie. Graduated from college in 1969. I was born in 61, so I'm not a youngster. And there was always weed around. I've been to a lot of Grateful Dead shows, probably more than I should tell you. 300. We smoked a lot of weed.
Sounds like it. But specifically hemp, I know you had
Well, yeah, hemp has a great story, and it reminds me of when I used to spend a lot of time on my family's sailboat down in the Caribbean, and the lines that put the sails up and down, when you buy them in any other place other than the United States, they're made of hemp.
Okay.
In the United States, until recently, required you to use nylon lines for yachts over 50 or 55 feet because it's just the rules and regulations of yachting. They're not very efficient, nylon lines, and they break very easily out at sea. And repairing them when the ship is going up and down is tricky. Whereas hemp, literally, if you cut it with a knife and wind the whatever they are, the parts of the hemp that go together,
the fibers,
literally the fibers literally grab onto each other, and you don't even need to use tape because it grabs on in the salt water, and it becomes even stronger than it was before. It's really uncanny. I've never seen anything like it. But when you come back into the United States waters and might be a boarding or an inspection by the Coast Guard, and if they see you have hemp lines on your sailboat or on your yacht, you're in a lot of trouble. They usually fine you $10,000 a foot of or tonnage. So if the boat's 50 tons, it could be $200,000 fine.
Wow.
A very serious infraction. I remember, my stepfather was alive then, but I remember that he said to the Coast Guard guy as they were fining him $10,000 a foot for the size of the yacht, and he said you should put some of this hemp rope into a pipe and smoke it, and if it gets you stoned, I'll pay the fine. And if it doesn't, I'm not paying the fine. He never paid the fine.
Oh, that's
Never
good.
paid the fine. But they couldn't bring the boat back into the United States waters for years.
Oh, wow.
It had to be in the British waters because it wouldn't be seized by the Coast Guard for non-payment of a fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't
Well,
want
that's a colorful story, and just gives you some perspective on the hypocrisy of
of hemp. And the world would not have been discovered if it wasn't for hemp, because you might be able to weave a sail out of indigo, but as far as putting the sails up and down on a mast, you need rope to do that, and ropes were made of hemp.
Exactly. And if anyone follows the history of the United States, that George Washington was, a big supporter of hemp, and a lot of the founding fathers, right?
Yeah, they were encouraged to use hemp. It's an incredible tool. We're only discovering now some of the applications. I'm not a big proponent of CBD, so I'm not going to tout that one. But I will say that as far as making some good stout rope for a $3 or $4 million sailboat, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. And then transitioning to class, like, what inspired you to create the brand?
I'm a master mixologist. I worked for a company that put me to work as a rum judge and rum national brand ambassador. I taught at the Moscow Bar Show in Russia a master class on non-manipulated craft rum. I don't drink anymore, so that doesn't mean I can't work with alcohol or work with beverages. I have a passion for it. I've written 6 books on mixology. My most famous book is this one. There we are: Cannabis, Cocktails, Mocktails, and Tonics. I think I'm on the 9th or 10th printing by now, which is pretty good considering it came out in 2015. It chugs right along. It was not a big seller at first. I've got a lot of negative reviews because, back in 2015, 2016, no one was drinking cannabis. The only people who were drinking cannabis were people like myself who were stoners. So it was, it got a lot of bad press. And then this press started becoming really good as people realized that you could enjoy a well-crafted cannabis beverage and no one has to know your business. There you go. So you can have this beautiful beverage that drinks beautifully, that offers certain aromatics, that's not a seltzer, that's like as beautiful as going to your favorite cocktail bar and having a perfectly crafted mixology level drink using the best ingredients in the world, and there's no alcohol in it. What I use is full spectrum, single strain craft THC, craft cannabis, not tincture. So this is very interesting. There's terpenes that are re-added, which I had a lot of reservations about, but when you realize that through the emulsion process, it strips out all the smells and the flavors anyway. So you have to re-add it in at the end of the process to give you the scent and the aromas that you're looking, the aromas and the flavors that I'm looking for. And when you crack open the can, it smells like freshly cured cannabis. It's really uncanny stuff. And it works with the other 3 ingredients that this drink possesses. When you look at the other drinks that are on the market, most of them are made with industrialized materials on a base of sparkling water, and they're amateur hour for me. I mean, they're meant to attract a seltzer drinking audience, and I understand that. Klaus is not a seltzer. It's a carefully crafted mocktail, THC cocktail that uses the best ingredients in the world, and those are the Pickett's Extra Hot and Spicy Ginger Syrup from my friend Matt Pickett, who I had a relationship, in the bartending industry with. I've used his products for years and years and love them very, very much. So we're using his ginger syrup. It's cane sugar based. I'm using Amabella is here.
There you go. Hello.
It has the Le Verger Boiron lime puree from France. They pick limes in the Caribbean, so they have a very specific flavor. They're tangy, they're not sweet, there's no sugar added. And then I'm using a product from Japan, which is called Mirin. Mirin is a rice vinegar. Comes in two different varieties. One is sweet with tons of extra sugar and flavorings. And I took the one that's dry, so it doesn't have any added sugar. It's just a vinegar derived from rice. So it adds this wonderful tanginess to the drink. The emulsion, the Vertosa emulsion, which is absolutely magnificent, is based on the strain called Hippie Crasher. And it's a indica leaning hybrid. So it gives you wonderful talkativeness, body relaxation, wonderful calmness, and then the best darn sleep you ever had in your life. It comes on in like 5 minutes or fewer, and the high lasts for about 4 hours or so. I think that one of the little 8-ounce cans will be selling for about $14.99, and it's like drinking two high-grade craft cocktails in a bar.
Okay. And you said you feel the effects in 5 minutes or fewer.
5 minutes or fewer on a full stomach.
Okay. And how is that? How is that possible?
Oh, it's just nice. I mean, last night I did a broadcast for the Cannabis Beverage Association, and you know, I've had quite a few of these, but I hadn't had quite a few of them on a full stomach. I was mostly drinking them on an empty stomach. And you know, 10 milligrams is 10 milligrams. It's not slouched by anyone's standards. But for me, it wasn't getting me high. So, you know, I have glaucoma, so I smoke weed all day, every day. And, you know, you got to give me something that really, it's not a matter of high THC. You know, high THC, I think, is flawed to, you know, it's a flawed dialogue. You know, chasing THC is flawed. I get higher on 10 mgs of THC rather than something like 30 milligrams of THC. I mean, it's all marketing. So I had a full stomach, and about 10 minutes after I had dessert, I came upstairs to do my radio show or whatever it was, podcast thing, and I got high. I felt it come on in my stomach, through my chest, down my arms and my head, and it was so marvelous. It was the experience in cannabis that I was missing, and there it was that I had it, and there it was that I had the opportunity of doing it, and doing it on, you know, quote unquote, on live TV, which was very interesting. I wasn't certainly not out of control by any means, but the point was that I felt like I was experiencing the effect that I was talking about on the broadcast. It was very special. It was very
sounds like it. And then as far as, you know, the ingredients and sourcing the ingredients, what was the whole process for putting all that together? And who is this that you
this is Klaus. This is the gnome. You know, the drink is called a Meserol, and it's named for a guy named Mesereau, who was coincidentally Louis Armstrong's weed dealer during the jazz era. So he has very little to do with Klaus, but the name of the the name of the drink is a Meserol, which is a slang for a well-rolled cannabis cigarette. But the brand is Klaus, named after my 1800s German drinking gnome right here, Klaus.
Oh,
and he's traveled all over the world with me. He's been everywhere, and he's been held by kings, presidents, and dishwashers.
There you go. Full spectrum.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. He's famous. He was famous before I was.
And, you know, just hearing a little bit about the background of Klaus, like, you know, what type of cannabis consumer is this for?
Well, it's for an upscale drinker. It's for someone who specifies the whiskey that's in their you know, Stone Fence or in their mint julep, or you know, whatever they're interested in. They want to know what someone else doesn't know. And you did ask, you know, how did I source the ingredients? And how did I create the recipe? The recipe is essentially a spicy ginger daiquiri. It's you know, if you look up a daiquiri and then mix it, instead of with simple syrup, you use ginger syrup, and then add, you know, whatever you add to make it spicy. You can use spicy bitters. There's a number of things you can do. You add a slice of jalapeno, whatever you want. But it's, you know, that was the idea. I love the idea of a ginger daiquiri, and I'm also creating drinks for the places that the drinks are being enjoyed. In California, you want to have a drink that goes along well with the type of food that's being eaten. So in California, it's Pacific Rim. And so you have Asian food, you have Indian food, you have all different types of ethnic cooking that's going on. And I wanted to create a drink that would be absolutely delicious with those types of food, because I have a formal wine background and I've always been entrusted with pairing the specific types of wine and regional wines to different types of food. Why should cannabis be any different? And why should a cannabis beverage be any different? It doesn't have to be. It can be exactly what you want it to be by using the correct foods to go with the correct spirits or beverages, as it will.
Yeah, and then speaking of that, like what type of beverages and what flavors do you offer at Klaus?
Well, Klaus is going to have 3 SKUs. I'm not going to give you the other 2 yet because we're not formulated yet and we're not trademarked yet. So I'm not talking about it yet. But the trademarked one, the Meserol, is the spicy ginger syrup. It's the lime puree from Le Verger Boiron in France, and it's the rice wine vinegar. Or not rice wine, but rice vinegar. I keep saying rice wine. I want to say rice wine, but there's no wine in it at all. It's just rice vinegar. It's simple. It's crisp. It's aromatic. It's refreshing. It's fun. It quenches your thirst. It makes you hungry. It settles your stomach at the end of the evening. It's got all the elements for a great drink, because it does all the things that you want a drink to do. You want it to make you thirsty. You want it to sate your thirst. You want it to settle your stomach. You want to make you hungry. Recipes that have vinegar in them are really important because it does wonderful things for the gut. And, when you think about the fact that I wrote a book called Bitters and Shrub Syrup Cocktails, and it sort of harkens back to the day of the 1700s and the 1800s, when most of the water that people drank was poisonous, and there wasn't a whole lot to do. I mean, they didn't go to offices to work, so there were plenty of time to get drunk, and mixers were hard to come by. So, vinegar suited many to make things called shrubs, or kombucha became important. And I love taking these early recipes and twisting them up and adding weed to them and getting stoned. I mean, that's what I like to do. I've earned my keep in life, and I can do whatever I want. And this is what I choose to do.
As far as the three options you shared with me, which one's the most popular?
Well, the only one that's out on the market is the Meserol at this time. We're only out since December. I mean, it's been less than a month. I'm only in 3 dispensaries, and only one of them is selling actually on the shelf at this point, and that's the Vault in Cathedral City. We'll be at Soulful in the end of February, and then we're going to be in Torrey Holistics in San Diego in the end of February as well. There's a couple more that we're looking at up in San Francisco. Nice. I don't have sales, and until recently I didn't have PR either. So it's a process that's extraordinarily organic, and it's how to do things with as little as money as possible. And we have incubator financing from Sands Lane, which is incredible. They financed me 100%. And, when you have a dream and a talent, you can do anything in life. Agreed.
And I remember, tasting that mocktail at Hall of Flowers at the Above the Clouds event David Trent and Fairchild put on. And I was really pleased with the experience and really enjoyed the drink, and that was really what sparked the interest in bringing you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's I get a lot of accolades and a lot of notice out there. I'm not really quite sure why, but when the beverage speaks for itself, and I know it does, because it's simple. It's not 14 ingredients of uncertain provenance, and based on based on things that you really shouldn't be having anyway, is like corn syrup. There's no corn syrup in my drink. It's cane. It's pure cane. Each 8-ounce can is 16 calories. I mean, that's next to nothing. 16 calories is incredibly light. There's 0.6 of a gram of sugar in the entire can of Klaus. Wow. That's wild. our next closest competitor has almost 3 times that.
Yeah, and speaking of your consumer, you said this is tailored towards the kind of, it's higher price, right? It's
Sure.
$14.99. You said.
We'd like to see it sold for $14.99. I'm sure it'll be on the out the door for that. Then again, they could price it at $12.99. I'm happy to say that I don't have anything to do with that. Even though I'm CEO of the company, I stay well clear of that one. That's where you get guidance from people who might know just a little bit more than I do about pricing. But we're making our piece, and hopefully it's up. And as I said, we're using all culinary ingredients instead of industrialized ingredients. So there's a higher cost for using the real thing rather than concentrates.
Mm-hmm. And then how do you plan on reaching this audience? You're really your go-to-market strategy. Like, how do you want to get in front of these? I guess these higher.
That's a struggle for anyone. We've engaged a PR firm to help us with our struggle. But essentially, it's my efforts. I use Instagram frequently. I'm very happy with the platform to a great extent.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I would get fewer pitches for guns and drugs on it. It's every day in my inbox. People want to sell me things like guns and drugs. I don't understand. But all you can do is block them and hope they go away, which they never will. But it's at this point, it's just amusing. And I guess it's part of life. You can't always control what your platform is going to look like, and I try to make the best of it. My partner John is absolutely brilliant. He's doing incredible things at our Instagram site, which is Drink Klaus, at Drink Klaus with 2 Ks.
Yep.
He gives like little movies, and it's very talented, creative stuff, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And if you ever want to see me laugh out loud, that's the way of doing it.
Well, I got some ideas for you, I guess, on reaching that customer audience. I think you're on the right track. I know Tori Holistics down in San Diego, and that's in the northern part of San Diego near Rancho Santa Fe. So that's near a high net worth area. And I know Tori Holistics does delivery throughout that region. So you already got a head start there. Soulful's up in Santa Rosa.
And also Sebastopol.
It's Sebastopol, yeah. So that's a good market. You might want to look at like Marin County as well as another option as far as like high, and then just the general Bay Area. Mm-hmm. Down there. Pretty much all of the Bay Area. It's really expensive to live up there. So
the problem that I have out there is not necessarily a problem, because I'm looking outside and it's snowing at a pretty good clip right now, and I imagine whenever I get out of my hotel or wherever I'm staying in the Bay Area, and every day is just nice. Even when it's not nice, it's still nice. And I'm like, wow, is every day like this? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like,
every day is nice. And it's all relative, right?
I'm tired of slipping on the ice, and I want to make sure that next time I'm out, I spend at least a week so I can try to get New Jersey out of my system for 5 days, and then it'll be like one day and I'm back when I'm back. But still, it's nice for old bones to not have to worry about sliding on ice.
I'm sure. I was speaking with a friend yesterday up in Marin County, and she has a delivery service, and we were just talking about reaching this the different audiences, and she really speaks to the kind of like high net worth soccer mom up in that region.
Sure, absolutely.
Is that like what different archetypes are you trying to reach with your product? Like
well, we're looking for people who, as I said, who traditionally would be attracted to things like craft beverages. Okay. And they squeeze their own juice for their cocktails. That's a good sign. They make their own ice. They squeeze their
syrup,
own small producer spirits. They instead of blended scotch, it's single malt scotch. Instead of blended bourbon, it's straight bourbon. Instead of, uncertain rye, it's, straight rye. They're using botanical gin instead of beefeater. They understand the individuality of ingredients and why that is important. And they want to have the very best. They want to, when they're drinking with themselves or drinking with their friends, they want to have the very, very best on their table. If you look at their wine cellars, they have, it's well chosen wine, generally not plunk wine. Having worked in the formal wine business for almost 50 years, I'll tell you that the amount of money that's in people's wine cellars is mind-boggling. So then you have the other side of it is you have people who don't want to drink anymore, like myself, or found themselves drinking too much, like myself, and want an alternative, but don't necessarily want to drink a soda. So that's why beverages like Klaus are so important, because you can serve it in a nice glass and it really upscales the experience, and it's a lot of fun. And your neighbors probably won't have it unless unless you told them where to get it, because I'm not selling every place. I'm being very selective where I would like it to be sold. I'm not looking to be sold in surfer shops.
Yeah, understood. And I would be one of your clientele. I don't drink alcohol, and I love specifically like ginger-based drinks.
Yeah, there you go. Right. It's great for the gut. It's so good. I mean, ginger is used on sailing vessels. When you get seasick, you put a spoonful of ginger syrup in your mouth and toss it down with Angostura. Yeah, exactly. You gonna take a little smoke break there? I'm gonna take a little smoke break. Well, I have a kitty break, so.
Don't get a kitty second.
She doesn't. She just took off. So yeah.
And we talked a little bit about how fast the beverage hits your system. How does your body process a drink versus a traditional edible like a cookie?
An edible has to pass through your liver, and a beverage just goes right, is assimilated by, I'm not a doctor, so I'm probably not explaining this right, but when it gets into your saliva glands and your throat, and it's assimilated by your body very, very quickly, especially under your tongue. The saliva glands under your tongue. Those are great receptors for cannabis infused beverages. I love to taste the cannabis infused beverage like I taste wine. I like swirling it around my mouth. I like swirling it in the glass to release the aromatics. And it's a lot of fun to drink that way, because at the end of the day, it's not just about getting high. It's about an experience. It's about a social experience. It's about drinking something that isn't 100 milligrams in an ounce. It's something that really is very elegant and a lot of fun to enjoy. And it quite potentially will change the way you think about the other beverages that are on the market. I'm not saying that they're bad, but I think they're boring. And, when I was at the Cannabis Drinks Expo, not the last time, because I did speak at the last time, but it was the first time at the Cannabis Drinks Expo. And I went up on stage and I said, cannabis drinks suck, because they really do. They really do suck. And, as a mixologist, as a bartender, as someone who understands the way things taste when you put them together, and how to make a buck in front of in a cocktail bar, it's hard work. And the drinks that I've seen out of the market have not impressed me at all. I mean, there's a couple that impressed me, but most of them don't. And I wanted to see what I could do and hopefully do it better, and hopefully do it in a way that allows people to think that, that's not pretentious. It's something that's it's just good ingredients simply prepared with love. I mean, that's all I want in life.
Yeah. And specifically for the beverages, do you think they're going to help us normalize cannabis socially, much like the way alcohol beverages are?
God, I hope so. I mean, I've been on these message boards for legalization of cannabis in New Jersey, and they're talking about all the roadblocks the towns are putting up. They said, said, why don't you just open up a bar? Save yourself all the trouble. Open yourself a liquor store or a bar. It's going to cost you less. You're going to have less trouble, and you won't. I understand that you want to go in the weed business, but New Jersey's not the place.
No.
No, they put you through the real rigmarole because it's so conservative here.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the cannabis drinks will be a replacement for alcohol drinks in the future?
I'd like to say in places that don't have the stigmas that we have here.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that.
Yeah.
I grew up with very restrictive family rules regarding my cannabis smoking, and they warned me numerous times to stop, and I didn't stop. So I got myself disowned by an extraordinarily wealthy background, and shut off emotionally, physically, and mentally. So I've been there, done that, and all I can say is it would be nice if drinking a little Klaus beverage was the key to being accepted by my family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think they're too far gone. We don't see someone in 40 years that sort of says things.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. And speaking of that, like, what do you see as the future of cannabis drinks?
Oh my gosh, I really, I want to be an advocate for them. I want to be able to be a guide to my peers. I want to be able to help others raise the bar by using good ingredients, not industrialized ingredients. If you have to make, I come from, as I said, I come from craft spirits, so you don't have to make necessarily 100,000 gallons of Tito's vodka a day to call it craft. It's not. It never will be. It never was. It's one drop of craft pot still spirits in a train car full of MPG, whatever, MGP, liquor. It's just garbage, and it's amazing how people are fooled. But look at politics. That should say everything. So all I can say is, when you use good ingredients and you prepare them easily and make them so they taste fresh and taste sparkly on your tongue and give you an experience that no one else has in the cannabis industry, I think that's a good thing. I mean, I'm not looking to be the only one. I'm looking to be one that helps others become better. That's what I'm thinking.
And being an expert in the in the mixology and drinks, in craft cocktails,
Sure.
What as a regular consumer, what should we be looking for to judge the quality of a drink product?
Well, there's two ways of looking at it. The first way you want to look at it is if someone's drinking it to replace alcohol, so they don't want to be even reminded of the fact that they drank alcohol in the first place. They might be alcoholics. So you don't want to make a drink that tastes just like a mint julep for them. They're not going to be happy with you because they are trying to get away from alcohol, not going towards alcohol.
Got it.
I try to make drinks that emulate themselves. So I use ingredients that are traditionally bartending ingredients, but in a way that I may not have actually added alcohol to. Case in point, the Klaus beverage, the Meserol. Certainly you could add rum to that, but the original incarnation of that drink in cannabis cocktails was as a non-alcoholic drink, and it was a drink using bartending ingredients, but it never had rum in it at all. Rum was optional. The agricole rum was optional, but it was a drink that was every bit as bright and refreshing and crisp and delicious as having a drink that had 2 or 3 ounces of rum in it. It didn't. It had 250 milligrams of THC. So, I'm a bad boy.
Just kind of continuing on and thinking of the ways that you're going to enter the market. You're fresh on the market. Where are you currently being sold? You said California.
Yeah, just California right now. We're talking, Guillermo. We're talking about licensing it to different places around the country. Okay. But until I have NDAs in place, I want to make sure that I don't spill the beans too readily. But but there are places that I would want to be in. that kind of excite me, that, places that I might have personal connections with, or past history, or, look what happened to me now. And, this is what I'm proud of. And that's really important because, as I said, I'm 60. I feel 35. I look probably somewhere in there, somewhere.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. I love what I do. I'm truly passionate about it. I'm the luckiest man in the world to be able to have this chance in life. I call it like a catbird seat, because I have the opportunity of seeing over everything, but not being too bossy.
Yeah. And how does it feel to start a company at 61?
Oh my God. It's great. This is the best experience of my life. I'm having a great time. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. I mean, there's a lot of, they may not love to have me back in liquor, but I wouldn't be, I don't think I was missed, but I can still write about it.
Yeah. I mean, we can tell in the passion for the drink, and based on all your background and your contributions with the different the books that you've created. Do you have any new books coming out in the future, or anything?
No, I'm talking to Jamie Evans about potentially putting together something, but we're fortunate that we're in the same publishing house, so I don't have to worry about throwing away my contract to work with someone else. But I contribute quite a few books, and I probably have at least 6 or 7 books I've contributed to in the past few years. Some of them, like the Oxford Encyclopedia of Food and Drink in America. Another one was another Oxford Encyclopedia of Drinks and Food in New York City. It was called the Gotham issue. I talked about cocktails in the 1800s. But, and then I'm in all sorts of cocktail books, like the Emily Post book I'm in, and the Ellen Holland book, Weeds, I'm in. I have 2 full pages. I'm in the February High Times. I have a full page in the February issue of High Times about Klaus. So that's really cool. And we didn't get it by doing pay for play. It was just, I responded to a query on Facebook for information. And it turned out to follow with a full page in High Times, which is really cool. Benjamin Adams did that for me. I was really impressed.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned Jamie Evans, and she's with Herbace, right? Or how do you
Herbace. Not herbicide, Herbace.
Do you think your product and her product are speaking to the same audience?
Yeah, definitely.
Similar?
I mean,
Okay.
her hers only has like 2 milligrams of THC, so it's really a very, very light experience. But I think she's such a wonderful person, and I wish her the absolute very best. And I helped her in the beginning for her to get her publishing contract. As I said, she's in the same publishing house that I am, and it's we're friends for life. Whether we're in competition or not is another story for another day. But the point being is we love what we do. I can tell that she loves the beverage industry as much as I do. And I love to be able to partner with her. And last night we did a podcast, a broadcast, like a happy hour for the Cannabis Beverage Association, and she and I together. So it was very nice.
Oh, that's wonderful. Is there anything that you'd like to share before you log off here today?
What I really want to share is if someone is in California and they're interested in trying Klaus, it is drinkklaus.com with 2 Ks, or on Instagram, drinkklaus, again with 2 Ks, that they would go into their local dispensary and ask for the dispensary to carry Klaus. We have distribution all over the state of California, both with I believe Hardcar is going to be doing some distro for me, and also I'm with Sense, SENSE, that's Latham Woodward, and he has samples available both in metric and whatever else they do. So it's it has to be done organically, and it has to be done by osmosis. I believe that sure, you can go out and you can pay for salesmen to sing for your supper all over the place, but unless I'm out there with them, I don't really know what they're doing. So I think the best way of growing the business is by asking your dispensary to carry Klaus, sending us an email at retail@drinkklaus.com and saying, hey, listen, I live in so-and-so place. How can I get Klaus to, here? And give me a contact name and we'll contact them and we'll get them samples and see if they're interested in selling it. I mean, it's as easy as that. I can't be every place, running the company out of New Jersey, but I can use email and I can use the telephone. I can use great podcasts like this to get my word out.
Yeah, and you shared a few of your social media profiles. I know that you're a writer as well, so really follow Warren on LinkedIn as well. That's where we connected, and anywhere else that people can find you and support you. And will you be at any events in California this year?
I'm planning on coming to the May Hall of Flowers.
Okay.
I definitely will be at Hall of Flowers. That'll be I asked Chris Gonzalez if I could bring a card table and a folding chair because I don't have $20,000 for a booth, or whatever it is. It's expensive. But I'm not going to the Emerald Cup. I'm going to Martha's Vineyard instead. So, stuff like that. I'll be around. When you're running a company, and I'd rather be traveling than sitting at home in New Jersey waiting for life to come to me. I like to come out and find life myself. So
same with me. Well, your open door policy here in Puerto Rico. If you want to come down and visit, let me know. I'm happy to host you. I know you have a lot of experience down here, but would love to have you.
Yeah, I would love to get to Culebra again. Culebra,
there you go.
Was one of my favorite places. Vieques was nice, but it was a little off the beaten path. But Culebra was just friendly people who harkened back to my childhood in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. It was nice. It was very friendly to me.
Well, let me know. We'll see you soon. Well, thank you again, Warren. Appreciate the time and the insights. And everyone, go ahead and visit drinkklaus.com. Go ahead and support Warren. Great drink. I've indulged in that during the Hall of Flowers events, and I've nothing but positive feedback here. So go ahead and check it out and ask for that in your local retail store and support Warren. Follow him on social media, as he said, Drink Klaus with 2 Ks. And we'll catch you next week, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.